In this acorn-shaped spacesuit-like hall is San Jose's first illustration fair. We are going to Illo Mart, a first-time event organized by SJMade, which if you've seen any of my other vlogs, you know that I love SJMade. However, with over 425 artists, the most they've ever had, I was shaking in my overworn Stan Smiths as I flew down. The event is 2 days long, and my original plan was to fly in Friday afternoon and set up for a good 2 hours, but larger forces do not like seeing me having a smooth sailing event, so my flight was delayed, and I was huffing and puffing trying to make it to the venue before load-in ends at 7 p.m. I touched down at 6:30, I got there at 7:02 with my 2 checked bags, 1 carry-on, 1 personal item, and 1 Shuli. It was truly a miracle. Now, since I couldn't set up on Friday, we arrived pretty early to set up right before the event on Saturday. I was so distracted with like talking to people and stuff, but we're finally set up. Here's what the table's looking like. And for the first time, we have our t-shirts. I don't know how to put them up, but this is kind of what I did. Also, we got the magnets since everybody loved the mama cutout. And then what else is new? I am Charlotte and Later Hater are both new. It's already past 11, but as usual, I think it takes some time for people to come in. Actually, you know what? Let's walk around and see. Have you noticed how dim it is? People are so smart to bring lights. SJMade usually had amazing freebies for the attendees. For example, this time they gave out Illo Mart branded bags for the first 1,000 attendees. Interestingly, this is where I noticed placement of your booth really did have a huge impact. Since there was only one main entrance and exit in a narrow venue, most attendees started shopping straight away at the very first booths, and by the time they got to around the middle where I was, it was already about 12, so I think if you were at the very back, you probably didn't see the big crowd until much later. Okay, I'm feeling major insecure. It's just so dim. Like, there's a lot of artists, and their booths are all really good, and we have a smaller booth than usual, and we don't have the lights, so we're like very dim. So now I'm kind of sad. I don't know why I'm so nervous. It's probably the most nervous I've been for an SJMade event. Once I started making sales, it was pretty apparent that this is going to be different from the other SJMade experiences. I noticed the sales were much smaller at the beginning and a lot slower than what I was used to. I got a free drink from Derp Towels Cafe. They're also an artist here. But then Julia also got me another drink from them, so now I have 2. Double fisting my drinks. However, at 1 p.m. I had a really good hour, like abnormally good. I think we made close to $1,000 just in that 1 hour. It was by far the highest grossing hour of this whole weekend.
30 and change, the next touch.
And after that 1 hour, it dropped back down to normal.
25. That's 32 in total. Thank you so much.
Someone gave me the cutest handmade AirPod case keychain. It's a little basket, so cute. Thank you so much. As the day went on though, my eyes got so strained because the venue was very dim. If you look around, anybody who had extra lights at their booths just seemed like a lighthouse. That's how you know it was really dim. And for me and others like me who didn't bring extra lights, it felt like we were just kind of left in the darkness. In fact, there was an attendee that came over and said, "I was looking for you, but I walked by a couple of times because I just couldn't see your booth." That is not good. Everyone who has lights is like a lighthouse. Someone came and showed me their Rhino case. So if you don't know, I did a collab with Rhino Shield for their phone cases where you can use my stickers as like, you can decorate your own phone case. And someone showed me one of Conan, which is my cat. And then another person came by and gave me this. Basically, this person like ordered 50 of one of my otter greeting cards. And then they said they were that person. And then they gave me this. Because apparently the otter on my photo card looks really similar to an existing otter that is somehow related to K-pop. I'll put the whole lore here. Full circle. This is the last 12 minutes of the event today. Overall has been pretty slow for SJMade events, but this is kind of what I was expecting because this is a first-time event. It comes about 2 months after Summer Fair, which is like their big summer event, and there are over 400 artists. So I was like, yo, the money's gonna get diluted, and I think that's kind of what's happening. It doesn't seem as busy. It was like a really big burst at 1 p.m. and then everything else was kind of just very average. But it's still, I mean, it's still a good event. It's like a lot less than what I'm used to at a lot of the SJMade events, which is a bummer. This is what we're seeing 10 minutes before closing. A little snack pack from Cinder Cake. We had dinner at this Italian place that was walkable distance, which had this very strong retro vintage vibes with a bunch of self-playing pianos and instruments. It was very interesting. I thought my shrimp order would have pasta, but it didn't. It was just kind of ingredients in a sauce. It was still good though. We are at day 2 and also final day of Illo Mart. That's us, that's our booth, looking cute. As you can see, the hall is actually, it's very skinny and long. This is the width, and then this is the length. It's very dim, and the fan is really noisy up there. Most artists aren't here yet, but I think this is my only chance to kind of walk around and see, because there's a lot of really amazing artists here, people who have like never seen at other conventions. So we're gonna walk around and I'll show you. I was also shocked at how stacked this lineup was. There were artists who I had been following for many years, or we had been mutuals on Instagram, but we've never seen each other before, and they were all here. I would say in general, SJMade events have a slightly different crowd than most folks I see at anime conventions. It's more cutesy, original art with a good amount of handmade goods like pottery. However, specifically for Illo Mart, it was kind of interesting because even though it's branded as an illustration fair, you could still see different product types and you could still see the typical pottery and other handmade goods. But on top of that, you also saw all the print artists. Like, it felt like literally everybody was there, which is probably true because there were over 400 artists.
Chunky cat, chunky cat.
You know, funny, I don't even live here, but so overall, the artist makeup here felt like it was the usual SJMade crafts fair vendors plus a splash of like the anime convention artist alley people.
I got another plush.
Even though there was a lot of people, the quality of the lineup was extremely strong. I saw many artist mutuals for the first time, including people who don't usually vend or it's their first time vending, so that was really cool. I think this event would be super fun to come to as an attendee. Like, you were eating good. But because there were so many good artists, it felt less busy than what I'm used to. I just did the cutest art trade with Chumi. We're mutuals on Instagram and I just love her art so much. She also does a lot of bunnies and everything is so relatable. It is so cute.
Lunch from Nijiya. We have the matsutake rice with chestnuts, and I think this is sweet potato, salmon, and some other good stuff.
Oh, I'm so sleepy. Oh, time to check in for my flight. Recently, I got status with the airline that I fly with, so now both my check bags are free. Like, when you fly for Artist Alley, you usually have, you know, 1 or 2 check bags, both to and from the place, and it can get really expensive. For example, I used to be paying like $90 round trip for 2 check bags, because I get the first check bag for free, but it's $45 to check the second one way, so it actually saves you a lot of money if you can, you know, usually get the credit card or get status.
It is 4 p.m. and I am bored. I'm bored. Card or cash today? Huh? Card or cash card? Thank you so much.
Right, it's 6 p.m. and we're closing. So good thing is we sold out of every single shirt that we brought. And then everything else is still pretty much in stock. Sold out of a couple print designs, but I think I was actually pretty good at estimating how much to bring. I got a lot of questions about how do you get everything into your 2 suitcases. So here's real footage of me squishing things into my luggage when the event ended. For my stickers, I use these trays and Velcro strips. The trays are usually used for both storage and display. That's big brain energy right there. And any extra stickers that don't fit in, I just put a plastic band around it and put it in a plastic bag. The trick to having everything fit is to have all the components be collapsible, foldable, break-downable in some way. For example, all my small prints and sticker sheets are hella flat, so they just fit in a box that goes straight into my carry-on. I also use crates or storage cubes to give my displays height, and my print wall and print displays come apart quickly. It does get tricky when you have more apparel or larger, bulkier products, and I definitely feel close to hitting a wall there because I'm making more t-shirts and more hats, but luckily all my t-shirts sold this time and it was really easy putting all the stuff back into the suitcases. I would say my breakdown, even with just one person, is super quick. It typically takes me maybe 30 minutes if I rush, and then 45 minutes if I take my time. So would I do Illo Mart again? Let's first do a speed run of the expenses. This is SJMade's first time offering 8 feet table and 6 feet table options. Usually they only have 10 by 10 booth options. So this time I tried out an 8 feet table, which was $350. It came with 1 table and 1 chair. My round trip flights were $160 from Seattle to San Jose. I took 1 Uber, that was about $20 because my friend drove me around for the rest of the event. Shout out to the MVP, Art by Julia. And I had no hotel costs because I also stayed with my friend. And so that's it. That was all the fixed costs for the event, which came down to $530, which is extremely, extremely cheap for a travel event. Like that's basically what I pay sometimes for like a more expensive local event. Obviously, there are other things like square fees and cost of goods sold, but that varies depending on how much you sell and the types of products you sell, your profit margins. Now, what about the revenue? My best event at SJMade so far was Summer Fair this year, followed by Holiday Fair last year. I would say this event is about 50 to 70% of what I've done at previous SJMade events. It is technically my worst SJMade event revenue-wise. However, I do think like any disappointment that I might feel is not fair because SJMade events typically are really, really good. I was thinking about this. It's like if you have a kid who usually does A+ in school and does extra credit, and then one day they come home from an exam and said that they got A-, and they've never gotten an A-. It's like that. Objectively, I think it was still a good profit event, especially considering my expenses were really low and it was only 2 days. And from speaking to people, it did seem like your mileage varied a lot depending on placement, your style of art. It was also many people's first time doing an SJMade event, so I think you will hear a lot of varying opinions if you look online. Besides the money, the experience in San Jose is always top-notch. There is one specific downside with being in this venue, which is that it's just really dim. I don't love being in this dimly lit acorn spacesuit room. This event really convinced me to invest in some expensive, good lighting for my booth. I think it really does make a difference. Besides that though, the staff are really great. Staff and volunteers came to check on me at least twice a day, asking me if I needed a bathroom break or if I needed anything. They're always really responsive and nice, and they're always organized. Like, I really have no complaints when it comes to SJMade organizers. And in a way, they really ruin you because once you do SJMade events, I think you'll always be dissatisfied with the treatment at other events and how disorganized other events are. Yeah, they're really good at their jobs. In conclusion, I would say Illo Mart was underwhelming if you compared it to other SJMade events, but objectively, in the grand scheme of things, it was still a really great event. So overall, I would say I am whelmed. But I still left feeling very happy, and I am very optimistic about next year's Illo Mart because I think it's really awesome that there is a push for a illustration-focused event, and I have a lot of confidence in these organizers to take feedback and try out new things and make it even better for next year. I just wanted to say that I will be having a shop update in early October at www.shuli.shop, and you can follow me on my Instagram because that's honestly where I'm most active. Here is my handle. I post a lot on Instagram, like pretty much daily on my stories. So yeah, if you want to be bothered by me on Instagram, please follow me there. Next vlog will be for Rose City Comic Con, and I will see you there. Okay, bye.